So I guess I'm going to refer to, you said when someone puts baby chicks in a blender, but unfortunately that is standard practice. It's kind of a given. When a chicken lays eggs, you don't know, if they're in the egg laying industry, you don't know if the chicks born from those eggs are going to be male or female. So the males are immediately discarded.
Those annoying vegans aren't relevantly interacting with Philip's argument. Saying something is standard practice doesn't mean it's inherent to the production of that product. They could have instead pushed back on his argument and pointed out the entailments or reductios of it instead of seemingly trying to establish that harm and suffering is inherent to the production of animal products, which I would argue isn't. They're trying to prove something they can't actually prove and unnecessarily complicating things when, again, they could just tear apart Philip's position. There are a number of reductios you could offer. For example, just replace the animals with humans. Is Philip still okay with it? What if you had the choice between purchasing an apple from a little family farm where everyone's treated wonderfully and paid handsomely, or purchasing it from an apple company that skins babies alive and sets them on fire, and you're aware that these things happen and the apples are of equal quality and price? Is purchasing the baby killer apple not immoral because killing those babies isn't intrinsic to the process of apple production?
She thinks that her consistency test would tear Philip's position apart. But in reality, that isn't necessarily the case. What if it's the case that he has no issues with buying apples from that farm? What then? Well, nothing. He would be consistent and there would be no quote-unquote tearing his position apart. Then, this vegan thinks that it isn't wrong to buy bottled water from McDonald's in and of itself, even though the company is in business of animal farming. Let's have a listen.
And so we can make a case. So let's say, for example, you go to a McDonald's and you buy a water bottle, right? Is that something that's ethically wrong? Well, you're contributing money to a industry that is based off animal products, but you're not actually buying an animal product. There's an asymmetry there. So is it ethically wrong what you did when you went to McDonald's and you bought a water bottle?
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I would argue no, right? I would say no.
And from my experience, that's a commonly held vegan position. So this vegan, and maybe majority of vegans out there, wouldn't think it would be necessarily wrong to buy apples from the baby killing farm, even if there are other places to buy apples from. But I am also curious what she thinks herself. For the sake of the argument, let's say that she doesn't think it's wrong to buy the apples from that farm. Then there is no reason to think that she would tear Philip's position apart with that, when it's a vegan option. Then, for the sake of the argument, let's say that the only farm which sells apples is that baby-killing farm. What then? Vegans might think it would be vegan to buy these apples if there were no other apple-selling farms. But apples aren't really necessary for us. So they would think it would be vegan to buy non-essential things from baby killers. And vegans in general buy non-essential things from non-vegans, who are animal murderers, rapists, and abusers. Some of them even say it's justified by virtue of them living in a modern society, or that veganism isn't perfect, or that there is no vegan alternative. Her whole quote-unquote tearing Philip's position apart is pretty much impotent.